We went on the local scene to the Duxbury Free Library to talk with children's book author and illustrator Brian Lees.
I am Brian Lees, and I am a children's book author and illustrator. And looking forward to having this exhibition coming up at the Bumpus Gallery, the Duxbury Free Library. A lot of people don't even really know about this gallery. I mean, it's kind of a hidden gem under the main stairs of the library. You know, it's nice to be exhibiting in my hometown. The paintings that are in this exhibit sort of cover a wide range of characters from a lot of my different books. And that's one reason that the show is called A Community of Characters. Partly because it is in my community, Duxbury, which I love very much, and partly because it sort of represents the community of animal characters that have appeared in my books over the years. I like the idea of thinking of them as community because in many ways what I'm trying to do is sort of show our best selves in the characters that I do. You may have lots of different species living in a small town and they all get along. For me, it's all about storytelling, and that the story really comes both through words and pictures. I do start with Procreate sketches, take them home, print them out, take a piece of tracing paper, and at that point the digital stuff is done. It swaps all over to real pencil and real paper. So I'll put tracing paper on top of the printout, copy my own drawing, but as I'm doing that, I'm revising it. So the same way that I would do with a sketch that I started with paper, I'm doing layer after layer of tracing paper, revising each time I go to try to approach the final drawing and what I really want to go into the book. So sometimes I end up with maybe even 7 or 8 layers of tracing paper before I finally have a drawing that I think is ready to go. And at that point, then you transfer the pencil sketch over onto a thick piece of paper, and then I ink every one of the little lines in so it doesn't disappear when I start doing an underpainting. And then the first thing I do is to basically kill all the white of the paper. So I do a wash of color, and then I do layer after layer after layer of acrylics before I finally have a finished illustration. When I was a boy, I loved books that had lots of detail in them because that meant you could spend more time looking at a picture. And it wasn't just seeing a picture, seeing 2 frogs talking to each other, turn the page. But there would be things hidden in the background that you might not notice until the 3rd or the 4th time you read a story. And so when I'm making illustrations, I really am making them for myself and wanted to create an image that has stuff you're not going to find right away in it. I think it's more interesting, you know, for readers like me. But I think it's also interesting for parents as well. And I think it's really, really important for parents to be reading with kids. And if you have books that have something in it that appeals to the grown-ups are less likely to groan when a kid brings it and says, let's read this one. You know, the parents are not going to say, not that one again, and drop it behind the sofa. And so if the parents are enjoying the story as well as the kids, it really models for the kids the joy of reading and the love of reading. And so it just becomes a loving, non-critical together time between parents and kids. We've talked about detail, and I think that is something that people tell me that my work is known for. I also always draw animals and not people. And that is a very conscious choice. I know there are some people who see it as less serious than drawing people. But I love drawing animals. I love the variations. I love the fact that the bodies are hinged differently from human bodies. I love the size variations. So you can have some surprising things about, when the rhinoceros comes to visit the mouse. Where's it going to sleep? Things like that. And so it can be a great opportunity for humor. But another thing for me is that the animals really become stand-ins for humans and for human nature. And it becomes also a very non-critical way for us to kind of accept things that we might not accept otherwise. With my book, The Rough Patch, when I first created it, the main character was actually a lanky old New Englander. One of my big problems with the story was that I never thought that kids were going to look at a book that had somebody on the cover that looked like a grandfather and say, I want to know about this guy. So having a fox rather than an old man on the cover is much more likely to evoke an, oh, what's going on with this fox kind of a story. What I would say to people who want to do this is, first of all, be a reader. Because if you're not a reader, you don't understand the structure of story and what stories need to be interesting to people and compelling. And to me, a story should be a joy, first and foremost. You should be caught up in the story and the characters and interested in it. You have to learn about the business, because it is a business. And a lot of people think that you're going to get your first children's book published and that's it, easy street for the rest of your life. So you've got to be persistent, you've got to do your homework, and most importantly, lead with joy. You've got to do this because you love it, not because you think you're going to get wealthy. Because the vast number of people who try to do this, if you do get published, you may get 1 or 2 books published, but it's not going to become a career. And pay attention to craft. Take notes, look around you, see what people are saying, pick up weird little physical quirks that they have, because all of that stuff becomes fodder that you can sort of naturally bring into a story. And if you're not sort of a student of life, if you're not curious about stuff around you, you're not going to have any of those things to drop into a story.
To learn more about Brian, visit brianlees.com.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button before you go. We'll see you next time.